Hello, welcome to Marlicia's Meanderings. I am Marlicia, and you are.
I am Talia from
And-
Talia Nerds Out.
Yes, from Talia Nerds Out. Welcome, and we are doing a book tag. It is the Reading Tics Tag. The original tag was from Kevin Toll?
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin Toll 9665.
Talia? I don't know.
I'm not sure. And Ty actually brought this to my attention, and she heard about it from Gavin at Genre Books 23.
He does all the best tags.
Yeah? Don't anybody else hear that, right? Here, just turn this off here.
Okay, yeah, just turn off the thing. Don't turn off the camera.
Is it off?
Up is on, down is off.
Okay, so it's off. I'm still learning the ropes here. Okay, so apparently we are talking about just everyday different kinds of things here, what we like to read, and things like that. So the first question is, do you only read at a specific time of day? For me, I read when I can get it in.
Yeah.
Whenever I get the time. I'm pretty busy, so no particular time. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, that is my main activity because I am homebound, so yeah.
Well, you knit and crochet or whatever.
I do that simultaneously.
Yeah. Okay. This I thought was kind of an interesting question. Do you prefer to read in your work, everyday clothes, or are you partial to reading in PJs or comfy clothes? Again, since I don't know when I'm going to read, clothing doesn't really make much of a difference. Although if I had,
It asks preference, so
yeah, it's true. I think that if I had my preference, it depends on the time, the day, the time of year. Being in a nice set of sweats and with a blanket or something would be nice.
like we have now.
We're freezing.
It's cold in
it's
here.
cold in here. That's why all the
layers.
accoutrements.
At least your thing matches. I have unmatched.
That is fiber artists. But yeah, I like to read in something that lets me be comfortable, and it depends what time of year it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Although my uniform pretty much is hoodie and sweatpants, and then I usually have some level of knitwear on.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that's not where the blankets come in for me and things like that. But
mm-hmm.
What is your favorite reading spot? The couch, the chair, bed, outdoors, somewhere else?
So it is favorite, not where you
yes,
tend.
But I'm kind of a maddening person because it depends on my mood.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like to hole up like in a small space.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I had a very small room, not much bigger than like a medium-sized closet,
mm-hmm.
and I would sit my back against the bed, my knees up, because that's how it's the only way it could fit, and I would read there. I was perfectly comfortable. Now, my preferred reading area, I don't know if I have one. I do a lot of reading when I'm walking on the treadmill if I have a digital, but I like to read on the couch, comfy chair.
When I was younger, when we did go to the library on in DC base, I had that one library room, which was like my room where I read when I was
You
there.
used to like to read in a tree.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I used to like to read in a tree. That was fun. Yeah, I would find her out front. The tree doesn't exist anymore, but she used to sit in the limb in the tree and read, or the hammock.
Yeah. Now, I think I just basically, because that period I was outside as much as I could get outside.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hadn't yet developed all the issues with that. So especially in high school, yeah, I was on tree, I was in the hammock, I was wherever I could go outside with a book. But now I pretty much mostly read preference-wise at my desk because, for one thing, my chair has arms, so if I fall asleep, I won't fall off. Yes, I have fallen off.
Yes, she has.
It was like a week or so before my second surgery.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually had to put down that, yes, I have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I will fall asleep and fall out of my chair. So I have arms on my chair now. It's a nice
Not that she has any room to fall in her bedroom.
Well, I finally removed my knitting bags in preparation for the surgery, so I didn't even have my nice soft knitting bags to land.
You would have ended up landing on a needle and skewering yourself.
I've done that too.
Yes, you have. That's why I mentioned it. Okay.
But no, I actually find it more comfortable to sit at a desk because then if I want to, I can write notes. I have access to my sticky notes. Quite a few.
That depends on the book, though. I mean,
Well, I rely on nonfiction.
Yeah, because fiction you don't need as much of that.
And I usually take fiction on the bike. But generally I read a lot of nonfiction, so I want access to my sticky notes. I want access to my highlighters, and if I'm reading something that's a bigger, heavier book, it's easier to put it on my book stand. Yeah. So yeah, I would say my desk now. I actually don't find it terribly comfortable to read in bed.
If it's not too noisy and distracting, I like to read in the waiting rooms.
Oh, well, yeah, that goes without saying.
But a lot of times they put TVs on and the stupid box always on, and it drives me nuts. I can't read when that's
Eventually,
on.
I can zone myself.
It depends on what's on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're right. Sometimes you can. Okay, do you snack while reading, or is this a no-go? Well, when I was younger, that was the thing. I mean, an apple, some pretzels, and a book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now because I'm an adult and I'm not supposed to be eating that way anymore, I might have a cup of tea or something, maybe a snack. But in general, I don't want to get stuff all over my pages. But a cup of tea would be nice.
If I'm hungry, I'll have a snack. If I'm not, I won't have a snack.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a cup of tea there, but chances are after a while I forget it's there, which is why I have a tea warmer. Because if I get really involved in something, nothing else exists. My drink, nothing.
I've had that happen. Usually I drink my tea straight off. It goes. And if I'm really interested in a book, all of a sudden I'm looking at, I'm done to reading, and it's got 3/4 of a cup of tea still in there.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I do.
That's why I have things like tea warmers, although part of it's because I also fall asleep. But,
do you or have you ever peeked at the end of the book, or do you avoid spoilers at all costs? I think I can count the number of times I have peeked at the end of a book on one hand. I don't like to know what happens. Now, if I've read the book before and I like the ending, I might go back to read it just because I want to feel good about it. But if I haven't read it, most of the time I won't.
The only time I look at the end of the book is to see the page count. So that way I can find if it matches a book challenge or if the percentages are going to be off because I read a lot of nonfiction. The numbers tend to include the footnotes, endnotes and all the stuff afterwards. So I will go to the page number before the endnotes. I'll still use the ones for the endnotes to make my book count, but I'll go to the page number before the endnotes to do my calculation. If I want to feel like I'm farther along in the book than like Storygraphic Goodreads will say.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, I really don't like to have the spoilers. I
don't actually look at the end.
Like I said, I could probably count maybe on one hand the times I've done it in my number of years. So, okay. Do you prefer first person or third person narrative, or do you care? I don't care. As long as it's well done, I don't care. Sometimes first persons can be really fun. They're kind of immediate. You get really into the story that way. Most of the ones that we read are third person because most people don't do first person really well.
Well, Agatha Christie does quite a bit of first person.
I wouldn't consider where Hastings narrates first person.
That's first person. He says, I this, I that. That's a first person narrator.
I guess, but
that's a first person narrator.
I don't know if he's taught. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at that.
All first person narrator is not from a third person point of view.
No, but he's talking about what Poirot does. He's talking about Poirot.
But that doesn't. Okay, first person narrator doesn't mean your main character's narrating. It means whoever is narrating is speaking in the first person.
I'm not sure that's right.
Yeah, that's 100% right.
I don't know if that's right. I'm going to check that out.
Because he's not like he's a unknown narrator. He's a character who's participating.
No, I get that.
Watson is a first-person narrator.
See, I want to check that out. I want to know what the difference is between the person you're from that person's point of view at all times, and it's different from what you're discussing about Hastings. I need to look that up.
I mean, he does say I and all.
Yeah, he does, but so do third person.
No, my point is in the narration he says I.
Well, that's something I need.
But it's because it's different than, like, say, Austen, who has, sometimes she'll speak as narrator, but narrator's not a character.
No, I get that.
So that's not actually a first person.
That's something I would want to look up and see more clearly.
And what also falls into first person is quadrail.
Yes, quadrail does.
I find it interesting that you consider quadrail because it's a main character. Well, Hastings is a main character.
Well, yeah, but I want to look that up and see. I want to clarify that.
That's interesting that you see it that differently.
Right.
Now, I don't necessarily have a preference. Now, it does actually work fairly well when you're dealing with a mystery.
Yes.
Because, especially if it's not your detective. Because then it allows your Watson character to have a very limited knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the hints being dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But because your Watson character, especially if you're dealing with Hastings, who's kind of
dim.
Well, let's say emotional.
Yeah,
a lot of times it's his emotions that get in the way.
He's unreliable in some ways.
Well, the problem is, yeah, you're right, he is unreliable. He has certain preconceptions. They're culturally based, you know, and then some of them, his feelings will get hurt.
Yes.
And Poirot knows how to hurt his feelings just right sometimes. Because sometimes I think he does it on purpose.
He might.
Because
he apologizes, but...
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes I think he does on purpose because maybe he doesn't want him to get too close. Either for Hastings' own safety or his fear that Hastings might give it away with his beautiful honesty.
Yes.
And his beautiful honest face, I think is what he usually says.
Yeah.
Because Hastings, everything shows in his face.
He doesn't know how to fib.
Right.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
But, okay.
You might not remember this in Clocks where Poirot's talking to the first person narrator character, that Colin Lamb. He's talking to him about all these mystery books he's reading, and he talks about the Sherlock Holmes book and that wonderful character, Dr. Watson. And then he starts thinking of Hastings and how much he misses him. And why did he go to America? Yeah.
Argentina, I think.
You're right, it was Argentina.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Argentina.
It was Argentina because Cinderella's sister, and her husband all went to Argentina for a family ranch.
Okay. Do you read dedications, author's notes, acknowledgements, or do you skip those? It depends. Sometimes I will read them. More if it's nonfiction than if it's fiction. Dedications are kind of fun. They're short usually.
I always read them.
You know, I
don't almost 100% of the time read them.
I don't always. If I feel like it, I will. If I don't,
they're short enough. Sometimes they're and they can be kind of cool. So they don't take any time up.
It depends on how long they are, and I've gotten to the point. It's been more recent that I read them more consistently. When I was younger and reading, it was like I just want to get on with the story because it was mostly fiction.
Right, and they don't actually have them as often in fiction.
No, they have dedications.
And those don't tend to be as long.
And sometimes they will have author's notes, like about how, the.
Yeah, don't read the.
You don't want them for the spoilers.
Yeah, you don't read the introduction, especially if you're reading a classic. They tend to spoil them. Don't read the introductions. Don't read the notes. Prior to reading a classic, you can go back and read those later because they will most of the time ruin the plot for you.
Right. Okay, this is a no-brainer. Do you have a favorite reading beverage? Tea. Hot tea.
Yeah.
It has to be hot tea. Okay. How do you decide what to read next? TBR, mood, goals, random choice. Mood. Although right now I also have a lot of along type things that I've gotten kind of quasi roped into.
Well, some of them we planned just between us even before you chose to get involved with some of the BookTube ones. And how did you get roped into them when you 100% chose to do them?
Let's do this one on doctrine.
I mentioned it to you, you didn't have to. And you chose on your own to do Elizabeth's Garden?
Elizabeth and her German garden.
Because I didn't choose to do that one. That was all you.
That one is interesting. I'm finding it interesting because it's got a lot more description than I am interested in reading. So we're going to see how it's.
You said it was 1800s?
It was the turn of the century, like 1880 or something, 1889.
So it's actually very close to Austen's time Would you say she does more or
Oh,
less description?
absolutely
More description than Austin.
Oh yeah.
I guess because Austin has the characters to focus on.
She
Is she describing the garden? Because it does.
Yes,
It's about the garden.
yes. She's
So
describing the garden and all the stuff and the way it looks. It's beautiful writing, and it's requiring a shifting in gears.
would
for
you
me.
would you think that it would be better read aloud, like almost poetry?
No, I don't. Well, maybe it had to be a good reader, someone who really can read with a pleasant
And I'm not
voice.
even talking about reading it, listening to it audibly. I mean, like the reader themselves reading it aloud.
Maybe.
Like I think that reading, like for example, Tolkien's translation of Beowulf or something, if you read that aloud, you'll get more of the flow of it.
It could potentially, especially someone who's got a musical bent. But it's very, and I don't know what I expected from it. It's a memoir, but it says in the back memoir and fiction, which is really odd.
That is odd, but it came up when you searched on it, where Amazon or Goodreads or whatever. It said just memoir,
It's
right?
a memoir, yeah. But I would probably do some kind of review on that book later. Right now, it's growing on me. It seems like it'll be a real nice book.
You said it's Elizabeth's German Garden?
Elizabeth and Her German Garden.
Elizabeth and Her German Garden. Because where did you check? Did you check Goodreads or did you check Amazon?
No, I checked on the back of the book.
Oh, okay. I thought you said checked somewhere else.
Oh, I did check on Amazon, yeah.
Okay. Elizabeth and Her German Garden. Because I read a book that I thought was fiction, but it actually turned out to be a memoir. Garden. Okay. Elizabeth von Arnim. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is saying a novel. Okay, so a novel by Elizabeth von Arnim was popular and frequently reprinted during the early years of the 20th century. Elizabeth and Her German Garden is a year's diary written by Elizabeth about her experiences learning gardening, interacting with her friends. So, is it a novel or is it a...
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It kind of seems to straddle lines. So I'm interested in seeing where it goes. It's not boring in the least.
Because someone's saying it's I wonder if it's semi-autobiographical novel. Because someone in the comments describes it as a semi-autobiographical book written in 1898.
Yeah. So this is something that it's a lot different than I expected it to be, but I think
it's fiction.
Okay. I think that allowing for the shifting of gears of what I expected, I think it's going to be really good. So I'm just going to not say any more about that, because if I decide to do a review later on, I don't want to give away too much now.
Yeah, but I did want to let you know, it says, this is Goodreads tags, the genres: classics, fiction, gardening, historical fiction, Germany, nature, 19th century, historical British literature. So, there you go. So it's one of those semi-autobiographical novels, which is historical fiction, I guess.
Yeah, are we going to answer the question?
Yes. I just wanted to, because that was bothering both of us, I thought. Okay, so what was the question? How do you decide what to read next? Okay. So, I run my year by Historathon because it gives me a feeling of structure, which not being able to work or leave the house consistently, that I lack that structure. The days kind of blend together. So I usually plan Historathon. I'm trying to plan it ahead of time, although sometimes I will add in books because I feel like I try to leave a little wiggle room. So that way, if I'm not feeling well, I can pick up an Agatha Christie, which happened at the end of last week. I just went and I knocked out the clocks in a few hours. And I picked up, mostly because I needed to get my Anne book in. I'll do a review of that later. But I picked up House of Dreams, and that took a couple more days. But
it's an easy read.
Yes. But yeah, so it's a mixture of mood, goals, TBR. I wouldn't say random choice. I don't usually do random choice.
I don't do random choice. Mostly it's mood, some TBR, some goals. But I don't random. The only time it might be random is if somebody gave me a book and I was like, oh, I want to start this.
But then I would consider that mood almost.
Maybe.
Because random, I kind of feel like, some people will do the thing where they'll set up like a wheel or something where they'll just spin it and then that's the one they do. That's not mood. That's random.
I can't do that.
I can't.
I can't do that. I
Cannot do
I
that.
can't do
Or
that.
they'll say, "Hey, I've got these books. Choose one for me."
Well, I can do that because that's not random to me. Because you have the book set out, you
Mhm.
just don't know which one you want to do.
Well, I'm not like, okay, so
To me, truly random is just
like, for example, and I'm not sure if you watched her video on it yet. Uh, Kelly. She did a video where she had her books that are safe for her. They're not her kids' books. They're not. These are her books.
Mm.
A whole like rolly thing, shelf thing of her books. And then she said, "These are all my books. Which one do you think guys? Do you think I should read?"
Mhm.
That's random.
Yeah, that's random. But
And I couldn't do that myself.
I could do that. Think. I think there are levels of randomness. Like if the book's from the house, chances are I had the desire to read it sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's semi-random. But if I go and say, "All right, Davina, we're in the library. Go pick a book,"
Mm-hmm.
that's random.
I think because I have so many different books, even within my history, I've started books before and been like, I don't feel this book right now.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't do very well with random, because I'm like, but I don't feel this book right now. Like, I have a book that I'll read it and I'll love it when I start it, but I had the one about the priest in Tudor England who's like talking about his hiding in priest holes and his like all that, and it's a true story. But I started it and I was like, I don't feel this right now. So I put it away, and at one point I will love it and finish it.
It depends. Sometimes I don't ever come back to the books like that. But okay, that's the question. I wanted to tag. Who do I want to tag?
If you can't think of anyone right now, just put it.
Yeah, I'll put the tags in the description
because apparently this one's been around for a while.
Yeah, and I didn't prepare really well for this because I was on retreat last weekend and it's been all kinds of.
Well, that's why I chose the tags that I did, because I wanted ones that required not a whole lot of effort and we didn't have to like research. And besides, I think when we're together, it's a lot more fun to have the ones where you're thinking in the moment. It's spontaneous.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for joining us here for this one. And if you want to do this one, we'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
See your video.
Tag us
so we can see it. And thank you for joining us. And well, God bless. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
You don't hold it. There we go. No, one more time.